I hope Amsterdam is everything you expected. We currently
Thank you.
a quorum, so we won't be able to vote on the agenda. We won't be able to vote on anything until we reach quorum. But I suggest that we go ahead. We need 7. Yeah, we need 1 more. So in the event that we don't have quorum, one of the things I did was discuss this exact situation with Max. And basically, we can go ahead and have the presentations, but we won't be able to vote on the presentations. What we can do is 15 minutes before our full board for all of us to get together, and we'll have a resolution that basically says approve, and you're gonna vote for either whether or not you, in favor, oppose, abstention.
And maybe someone will show up.
Yeah, exactly. If that happens, then we should be all set. But right now, we haven't met it, but we're gonna go ahead and continue with the presentations. And the request will be for everybody in the meeting as a committee to watch the presentations that are brought by our guests tonight and be able to vote with full knowledge of what has transpired tonight. So, okay. So tonight, we have 2 members with waivers. They can vote. Don't count towards quorum. It's Sofia, Vala, and Natasha Kazmi. Both have asked and received waivers for unexpected travel. And then we also wanted to welcome our new public member. It's Tillson. You are a longtime resident of the Upper West Side.
Yes, over 30 years.
Yeah, and yeah, you're an avid gardener, right? And
yes,
you're interested in sustainability. So I just wanted to know if you could use
in Riverside for sometimes 83rd in the no, it's the park tender program.
Could you just talk a little bit about your background, introduce yourself a little bit, why you chose parks and environment, the specific committee?
Nice to meet everyone. As I said, I've been on the Upper West Side for over 30 years. I did flirt with the Upper East Side for a few years and realized that was a bad decision and came back. So this feels like home. I grew up in Connecticut, moved here right after college. I work in the fashion industry, and I've been doing that for my 30 or so years. Right now, I work at a company called PVH, which owns Calvin Klein and Tommy Hilfiger.
Oh, wow.
So I do global market research for them. And in my spare time, I'm really passionate about gardening. I'm working on a certificate in sustainable garden design at Bronx Botanical Garden.
Wow.
And getting close to doing that. Now I'm going in for another certificate in landscape architecture. So it's really a passion. And I'm most passionate about natives and sort of really building in native trees and flora to help protect the birds and the bees and all of us, because we're a circle of life. So that's what really attracted me to this committee in particular. I'm so excited to be here.
Welcome. This is a great committee. I'm glad you're able to join us tonight too. So we have 2 presentations today. The first one, and both these presentations require resolution. I will tell you what the resolution is going to say, but we won't be able to vote on it unless we meet quorum. As always, when people are presenting, I'm asking everybody just to hold the questions and comments till the end. It's just really out of courtesy to the presenters, and it's just for efficiency's sake. That's the most helpful for these meetings. The first meeting is going to be a presentation by NYC Parks regarding the renovation of Frederick Douglass Playground. I believe that we have, is it Tyler?
Yep. Yes. Tyler? Hi, Daria. How are you?
Patricia and Steve Simon.
Yeah, but I'd like to say a few words before we get to Tyler. Oh, shoot. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yep.
Oh, okay. I seem to have lost the audio. Well, let me just say we're very pleased to be able. No, actually, number one, I want to welcome the new public member, because anybody who's in support of trees, we're in support of them. So and that's the threshold requirement to be a member of this committee. seems to me you should be an advocate for trees. So that's great to have another one on board. Now, let me just say that we're very pleased to present the proposed design for the reconstruction of Frederick Douglass Playground to you tonight. We know that this has been a priority of Community Board 7s for quite a while, and we're now able to show you that we've picked up on that, and we're going to follow through, hopefully, with a renovation that you'll find to your liking. Now, I want to point out that we were able to begin this process when we got a substantial allocation from Councilmember Sean Abreu, and then we looked at what we were able to do with that money and decided that we had originally maybe been a little too conservative on what we had in mind, and we looked at the whole playground area, the entryways off of Amsterdam and 100th Street, the entire space, and we tried to we then got a substantial supplement, additional funding through the mayor's office. So this now became an $8.4 million project, and we're very pleased that we're able to do as much work as we're going to propose to do here. So let me let me turn it over to Tyler, who has done I believe, a masterful job in coming up with a design that's going to really make this playground a much better asset for the community than what it is today.
Thank you, Steve. Can everyone see the title screen?
Yes.
Okay, great. Okay. Sorry, I'm getting a little feedback. Steve, do you mind muting your mic? Thank you. Okay. Yeah, I heard some sirens in the background, but yeah, as Steve mentioned, we have a significant scope increase thanks to not only Councilmember Sean Abreu, but also Mayor Eric Adams for a total of $8.4 million. So our scope size has nearly doubled. So we're dealing with about an acre of total project reconstruction. So let me just walk you through kind of the background information that helped inform us for this site redesign. First, I'll go over the goals: make playground an improved facility for the community. We want to improve site safety and circulation, enhance environmental amenities of the site, and provide play features for users of all abilities and sensory needs. So we are on the Upper West Side of Manhattan, along Amsterdam Avenue, and as you can see, our total project site is all the way from West 100th Street to West 101st Street. So a full block of reconstruction, and then we're going all the way over to the NYPD precinct. The synthetic turf field is not part of the reconstruction, however. So I just want to point that out. So we're not doing both parts of the playground. So our site is not in the flood zone. Just quickly, the surrounding land use is mostly multifamily residential. The Frederick Douglass houses are directly adjacent to this site, and part of our parks property leads to one of the entryways at West 101st Street. So there's a lot of great existing playgrounds in the area. Some of them we took inspiration from, like Bloomingdale Playground, and the recently designed Annabella Viles Playground, which is going into construction soon. There's also a couple playgrounds that are in design or about to go into design, Dinosaur Playground and Happy Warrior. So there's a lot of good amenities in this area that we took into consideration when programming our site. I just want to go over a brief site history, showing you a view from 2003 on the photo on the left-hand side. It's intended to show that there was an above-ground mini pool directly in the center of the playground. And then in 2008, a basketball court was located in the center of the the playground, while an in-ground mini pool, which is in really good condition, it's very popular in the summertime, is moved to the top right-hand corner of the site. So there's a lot of active recreation here, and just showing you the existing conditions. There's some outdated play equipment at the lower portion of the site. Some modular units from around 1998, so they're pretty outdated along with the safety surfacing. There's 2 sets of swings. One is 8-foot height bucket swings, and then the very popular 10-foot height strap swings. As I mentioned, there's an in-ground mini pool, which is not part of the contract, and then the public restroom building is not part of the contract, but we will be making it accessible through reconstructing the pavement around it. So just quickly going over the site analysis, there was some awkward circulation paths that we found, seeing as how there's 3 entrances, however, one of them is currently closed. So in order to access the playground, you really have to go through one of these long corridors. They're narrow, they're kind of tough to find. They're at the mid-block, either on Amsterdam Avenue or West 100th Street. So there was this safety hazard with site circulation trying to get through all these narrow corridors and past the basketball court just to reach the playground. So that's something we wanted to address in our redesign. We have a lot of existing large trees here, and we're not proposing to remove any of them. We're just going to take into consideration their root zones. We go out with an arborist and assess each tree and base our design off of what the trees need. Just quickly want to show you some existing site photos. The aforementioned corridors, the one on the left-hand side is entering from West 100th Street, and then the corridor that leads to the Frederick Douglass houses in the photo on the right-hand side. Here's the existing handball court, which is in poor condition. The surface is very rough and pretty unplayable. Then there's some existing game tables and benches that are in need of some tender loving care. So we want to spruce this area up a little bit. Here's the view from that same corridor as you enter the playground. So you're basically met with the basketball court, which you have to navigate around to get to the playground on the left-hand side. The public restroom building is to your right. In addition to the mini pool, you can kind of see the 10-foot height bear claw fence around the in-ground mini pool. So here's the existing play equipment. It's very heavily used. The 10-foot height swings were noted as being very popular in the community, so we wanted to retain those. And then a general view of the existing play equipment. There's a 2 to 5 play unit in the foreground, 5 to 12 in the background, and then there's a camel statue, which we'll be taking out. So at the community input meeting, we heard your priorities were increasing play value, making things accessible and inclusive for users of all abilities, adding a lot of sensory play, adding a spray shower, and addressing the circulation issues around the sports courts and the lack of lighting at the playground. So I'm going to walk you through the schematic. Here's our proposed redesign for that entire 1-block area from West 100th to West 101st Street, starting with a new welcoming entrance at the corner. So you would enter through a double gate with lots of planting. We want to buffer that busy corner with a lot of planting, make it welcoming, easy sight lines to look into the playground by lowering the fence. We're proposing a 4-foot steel panel fence around the entire perimeter. So we have a gathering space with some shade trees, some benches, and then just above it we have some more casual round tables, and this area is surrounding a basketball hoop game. This hoop game, which I'll go into detail in a little bit, is for users of different abilities. It's a large structure where you aim a ball into, and then it comes out a few different chutes. And I'll show you a photo of that in a couple of minutes. Just above the hoop game, we have the 10-foot height strap swings, which again are very popular at this playground. It was stated to be an identity for this playground. Really, there's not a lot of 10-foot strap swings anymore, so we wanted to keep those and fit them in as best as possible. And then at the lower portion of the playground, we have the colorful pavement is the location for the spray shower. And then just next to it is the 8-foot height bucket swings with an accessible seat. So we'll be adding an additional swing there. And then that central area, we wanted to make play the focus of this area. As I had mentioned before, it was a above ground pool, then it was a basketball court, and we just saw an opportunity to increase the play value and make it kind of the focal point of the playground. It's nestled between a couple of existing trees, and then we have some additional trees at the perimeter. The play equipment consists of 2 play units. There's a ramped unit at the lower portion, which is aimed for 2 to 5-year-olds, and that's adjacent to the bucket swings. And then just above it is the 5 to 12 play unit. So a little bit taller structure with some big slides, and that's adjacent to the 10-foot height strap swings. One new feature that we added, which was requested at the community input meeting, was a space for caregivers or nannies with young children, toddler age, to have a protected area to play and monitor who they're taking care of. So at the top left-hand corner, we have a tot lot with a little bit of safety surfacing for a low slide, and then some ground play elements for that age, 6 months to 24 months. And then moving to the corridors, the corridor at the top will have some new reconstructed asphalt pavement with a lot of new additional light poles. And then we are using a similar strategy for the corridor on the right-hand side, reconstructing with concrete pavement, and then again adding a lot of lighting, bringing back the benches, but in a C-shaped for more conversational seating, and we're also adding ADA companion bays in between the benches. And then we're installing the game tables at the upper right-hand portion. So there'll be 3 concrete and steel game tables, and then 3 additional ones that are accessible. So that's the schematic. Just moving on to the fence diagram. Again, we're going to propose a 4-foot steel panel fence around the perimeter, so with the exception of the handball court area, which will have new mesh and painted poles. And then in the interior, we'll have lower fencing where required around the swing sets and around some of those bigger planted areas. So here's what we're showing for the 2 to 5 play unit. Accessible play unit with some ground level play panels. And then the 5 to 12 play unit, we're showing some taller slides, some some more challenging climbers for upper body mobility. And then just showing the tot lot play units, just some small play panels, a low slide with a playhouse, and then a bench. And then here's some example sprays that we're proposing for the spray shower area. So here are the site furnishings. I just want to call out the playground hoop game. Again, it's something we're proposing for that kind of area tucked in between the round tables and the 10-foot height swings. It's good for children of different abilities, and it's also kind of an alternative basketball game. So there's no real set requirements. There's the ability to have a different number of participants play at any one time. Some of the other furnishings we're proposing are pavement graphics, asphalt block pavers at that welcoming entrance. The pavement graphics, I want to note, actually go around the play equipment. So I'll show it on the last slide, but we have colorful pavement graphics that will hopefully honor Frederick Douglass, his legacy. And then the rest of the site furnishings are NYC Park standards. We have World's Fair benches, Type F drinking fountains with high and low drinking basins, and the Flushing Meadows Candela light poles. Here's our proposed plant palette. Lots of flowering trees at that entrance, and then hopefully trees that will provide some good shade for the play equipment, just to keep, just to supplement what's already existing. So here's how we're handling our sustainable practices. We're increasing permeable surfaces by quite a large margin, using recycled content material, improving tree health and growing conditions, using site-appropriate resilient plant material, and then adding the on-demand activation of spray showers. Here's a view of the play equipment and swing area facing south. Here's a section of what the welcoming entrance would look like. So you can see, straight into the playground, good sight lines, low fences. And here's our proposed schematic again. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That was amazing. I remember when you had the public input on this, and seeing it come to fruition is really gratifying to see. So I wanted to see if we have any questions from committee members here first and then online next. Okay.
I have a question of timing and phasing. Like, when do you anticipate starting? How long will it take? How much of the playground will you close? When?
Well, the entire playground, the area that's indicated here in the schematic, this area of the playground would be closed, including the mini pool, during the 12 months of construction. So, the plan is not to phase it; it's to do it all at once. We're probably about at least a year and a half away from the start of construction. We still have to go through.
Steve, you just muted yourself. Is this?
Oh, did you hear anything that I said?
Yes. Yeah. Except for the last part, you're a year and a half away from starting.
Okay, great. Yeah, so we still have to go through the approval process. After the community board, we have to get a sign off from the Public Design Commission, and then they're going to have to spend a number of months working up the construction documents that are used for the bidding process, and that process, between having the lawyers review the documents, putting it out for bid, awarding the contract, reviewing the vendor's qualifications, and then awarding the contract, and then getting it registered. That could take up to a year. So we're probably talking about not starting construction here until the beginning of 2027. But by the way, if you can, Rachel Kramer, who is our Manhattan Design Director, is listed as one of the attendees. If you can, could you promote her in case she wants to chime in on anything?
I just promoted Rachel.
Okay, thank you.
Rachel, did you need to add anything? Alex, you have a question?
Yeah, I was just wondering about the basketball court. It seems like probably some people will be angry about its removal. Did you have any thoughts about that, or any ways of making people not angry about the removal of the basketball court?
Yeah, I think we considered the other playgrounds adjacent to this one. Happy Warrior Playground has a lot of basketball courts already. We looked at what was existing at Frederick Douglass, and it was an unofficial size basketball court. So not really for regulation purposes. We decided to focus on the play equipment as trying to make it as diverse and inclusive as possible. So we have, the tot lot, the 2 to 5, the 5 to 12, and that seemed like the best location for it. And then, I think trying to come up with a varied hoop game was our solution in the one that I showed.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
I was wondering, first of all, if you're putting any tree guards on the trees, or what protects them, if anything.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that too well.
Sorry. Regarding the trees, do they have any tree guards around them, or any protection?
Yes. So the existing trees, the larger ones will have a 2'6" fence around them. Hopefully to dissuade children or pets from getting in there. So we are opening up the tree pits quite a bit to allow for increased permeability. The ones in the corridor, we currently are not showing any fencing around, but the ones that will be near the active uses will definitely have a steel fence around them.
Okay, thanks. And you mentioned the fence around the perimeter. Is that a steel fence now instead of a chain link fence, or what?
Correct. Yeah. The 4-foot steel fence will replace the 8-foot chain link fence that's existing.
Okay, that's great. And I was near the trash area, in back of it. There was a checkerboard area, and it was intriguing looking, and I wondered what that was for. It's ground cover. Surface cover. Do you know what that is? I think it was slide 23. Yeah, you see it in back of the trash enclosure?
Yeah, this is an example photo, but this is looks like safety surfacing on the interior of the playground. So we're proposing the enclosure itself. So these lockable steel enclosures that would be right at the corner of West 100th Street.
Right. And my last question has to do with safety surfacing. So what percentage of the entire area would you say has safety surfacing, and what is the other surfacing that you've used? Is it concrete paving or asphalt paving, block pavers, or what?
Everything shown in the light green is safety surfacing. So the areas beneath the swings, the play equipment, and a little bit in the tot lot, that's all safety surfacing. There's different fall zone requirements for each piece. So the tot lot safety surfacing differs a little bit from the 10-foot heights swing safety surfacing, just in thickness. Everything else shown within the playground is asphalt, with the exception of the colored concrete for the spray shower and the asphalt block hex pavers for that entrance. And then the eastern corridor, the one at the right-hand side, is concrete.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Any other questions from community members here?
Sure. About the water fountains, I know so many people would carry refillable water bottles around with us. Is there a possibility to have one of those containers where you can fill up your bottle versus drinking directly from the fountain?
Yeah, we can certainly look into that. Yeah, right now we're proposing, 2 drinking fountains, each with that high-low. So, like a younger or a smaller person could just reach that fountain. But we can look into the bottle filler as well.
And also if there's a filler for the dogs, because I run in the parks and things all the time, and I always see the dogs up drinking off of the water fountain.
I think they're gonna try and dissuade dogs in that certain area there, especially.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I mean, I would. That's why they said they were trying to keep kids where they have the tree guards. And all.
Okay.
Yeah, that's another pet.
Any other questions? Committee members online, any questions?
Daria, I have a question once everybody else has spoken.
Any non-committee members on the Zoom or in the room? Committee members, is there anybody else attending? Non-committee members? Okay, members of the public. Let's start with here, if you have questions.
I have several questions.
Okay, you can come a little bit closer. So
Okay, first question is, you've discussed,
can you come here?
And sound doesn't carry.
Yeah.
It's people who are
Thank
here.
you.
for the water features, where is the water going to go?
For the spray shower, so we have, we're working with our civil engineers. We'll make sure all the water spray is contained in this colored area, and then it'll have its own separate drain. So everything spraying from the water shower will stay in that colored area.
The area currently is populated by a lot of London planes. Those are existing trees. Are they staying or going?
All existing trees are remaining.
Now, the trees you've shown, are those all understory trees that are coming in?
Yes. So at the corner, we're proposing 4 trees and then a few additional understory tree. The 2 along the street are probably going to be a little bit taller. We're proposing thornless honey locust, I think, at the perimeter, and then some understory trees, at the gathering space, and then around the play equipment would be an understory tree. Same with the one at the top right at the end of the corridor. We're replacing an empty tree pit up here.
I would like to ask that contrary to current forestry construction, that the soil depth of all the new tree beds be no higher than 2 inches below the surrounding surfaces, because water is eventually going to, it rains occasionally, and water could go into the tree beds and not on the surfaces.
Okay.
Any other questions? Oh, during construction, will the London plains be protected?
Yes. Yeah, we have a tree protection item for all the trees. Yep.
Okay. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I actually have a couple of questions, and I'll give Natasha the last word on this. So the two questions I had to do with the bathroom and the mini pool. Currently, are both of them fully functional? Are there any issues related to both of them? Will they also be up and running when the construction on this is complete? And the second question I had was, if we were to revisit the mini pool and the bathrooms, how much would it cost to bring them up to par with ADA accessible laws in the city? Do you know, if you know that?
From my understanding, the mini pool meets all current accessibility needs. There's the appropriate, I think, 10-foot clearance around the pool itself. So there's, an appropriate clearance all the way around the pool. I think the public restroom building would need to be revisited at some point. It's just not on our architectural list of projects at this moment. But we do we have reserved like a certain amount of space in case we need to make that upgrade in the future. So we have additional asphalt area that could fit the new public restroom building layout. With regards to how they're working currently, we have civil engineers who will be assessing the condition of the facilities and checking the water lines, making sure there's RPZs that are up to code. So that's part of our purview for this project. Steve, do you have something else to say?
Well, I would say there's probably a good chance that we will be seeking funding in the future to rebuild the public restroom building, to bring it up to ADA standards at least, and maybe even to enlarge it so it can provide more space for the public as well as for our park staff. So I think there's a good chance that we may come back to you at some point in the future and talk to you about the renovation of that building.
That'd be great.
Thank you. The park is beautifully designed with a lot of ADA accessible features. And so it'd be a shame to not upgrade the bathrooms in line with the rest of the playground. So that's good news for us.
Yeah, Daria, we agree with you.
Natasha, did you have some questions?
Yeah, hi, I did. Thank you so much for this presentation. I actually walk by this playground quite often, and it really does need a lot of attention, and I'm very grateful to the Parks Department for paying attention to it. I was wondering also about the mini pool, and there was a while when I actually didn't have audio, so maybe you already discussed this, but when was the last time it was used, the pool? Like, when was it shut down?
This is Matt Genrich, the district park manager. The mini pool has been in operation every summer and hasn't had any operational issues.
Oh, okay. So it does. Okay. I did not know that. And could you go to, I think you had a couple of visuals of the playground, a couple of photographs of the conditions as the conditions are right now currently. Yeah, by the photograph number 2, clay equipment, a lot of that buckling, is that just water damage from rain and stuff, or is it something else? Because I've seen that that's a real problem over there. Is it just water damage?
I think water damage, coupled with it's reached its useful lifespan. So
Yeah, go
yeah,
ahead.
yeah, it's damage due to sun, due to the undulating pavement, water not draining properly. So a number of factors. But yeah, there's cupping of just about all the safety surfacing.
Yeah, and all that is going to be taken care of.
Yeah.
With this project. Okay. And I want to echo what Karen just said about the bottle filler. I mean, it would be a shame to not have that. It's a very heavily trafficked playground with both adults and children in there all the time. We definitely need a bottle filler in there. And also, I want to echo what Daria said about the restrooms. And Steve, before you come back to us with a comprehensive major refurbishment, isn't there a way to just refresh the restrooms right now?
We can look into it. I mean, we might be able to do some basic work, but I don't know. I hesitate to say. I'd have to have somebody take a look at it.
Yeah. And I would actually advocate that for all park or playground projects. I know that actually constructing or like completely gutting and renovating a restroom is a very expensive thing to do, especially if you have to make it ADA accessible. But in the meantime, if you could just freshen it up so that it becomes like at least not an unbearable experience for anybody visiting. I would really advocate for that. And finally, one last question. You said that the camels were being moved away, and I was wondering why, because my own kids used to really enjoy playing on those camels.
Yeah, I think just it's typical of most projects to have animal art from the 80s or 90s, but I think we're typically moving away from that era of play equipment. It's nice, but I think we're hoping to get more value for the limited space that we have.
Maybe Natasha could have it for her apartment.
Yeah, not a bad idea. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So we have good news. We are able to meet quorum tonight with a count of 6. So I wanted to propose 2 things before we move on. I wanted to first make a motion to adopt the agenda, and if we can all in favor of that, let us vote on that. Thank you.
All the question?
All question, motion to adopt the agenda.
Okay, all in favor?
6 here.
7, right, Natasha?
And then online, it's Natasha.
Is it Ava get a
Is Sofia on?
Sophia is on Zoom.
Did she vote to adopt the agenda?
I'm here. Yeah, I have my hand raised. I just am off camera.
Okay, so it's
but my hand is raised virtually, if you can see it there.
And also, that also means that we can vote on the resolution tonight. So I'm gonna call the question, is it everyone agrees that we can go ahead and vote? Today's vote will be for a resolution that approves the renovation plans for Frederick Douglass Playground as presented today. So it's gonna be in favor, opposed, abstention, or for cause. Everyone in favor? And online?
They both have their hands raised.
Great. That looks like it's unanimous, but to double check, opposed, abstentions, or for cause? All right, so this resolution has passed. Thank you.
Can I ask Steve Simon the question if he's still on?
Yeah, of course. Steve?
Steve?
I'm here.
Hi. A lot of bike riders would like to know when the path from 95th Street and Riverside Park up to the George Washington Bridge is going to reopen. Do you know?
Well, I can tell you after Friday, we have an inspection. Where we're talking about the section that's currently under construction between 100 and 125th Streets, Cherry Walk.
Yes,
So,
exactly.
we're hoping that it'll pass inspection on Friday and we can open it shortly thereafter. But call me Friday afternoon.
It'll make a lot of people very happy. I'm not one of them, but that's good. It's great. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for attending and presenting this, your plans.
Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you for supporting the this project. And before I leave, can I just put in a plug for the fact that we have a special event at the Gertrude Ederle Rec Center this Friday from 6 to 8. Sounds of Disco, 70s night. Join us for an evening of dance, fitness, and fun. You'll enjoy songs from the 70s. Come dressed in your best 70s attire and live out your disco dreams. I know this applies to all of the board members. Thank you, especially Barbara Adler. Thank you all.
Thank you. Thank you so much. All right. So the next item on our agenda is going to be the Broadway Mall Association's presentation on the new public art exhibition.
Right.
If you can join us, that would be great. And
where would you like me to sit?
You can sit, yeah, anywhere as long as it's near one of these
Owls.
Yeah, the owls.
They're not real. Oh. What do you mean the owl?
Right there. The thing that looks like an owl in the middle.
It looks like
gray.
speakers where the.
Oh, you mean
yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I hadn't heard them referred to as owls. So, thank you very much. I'm Deborah Ford. I'm a board member and of the Broadway Mall Association and chair of our public art committee. And I've had many wonderful presentations to you with good questions and generally a good reception. So I'm glad to be here again. My colleague on our committee, Kate Waddell, is also here just in case I say something wrong or
Never.
No. Kate is a recent and very important member of our committee, so she's here to see what goes on. And maybe she'll come to you some other time. We are pleased that we have a new exhibition, which is following quickly on the deinstallation of the one we have now. The Sean Scully exhibition will all come out this week, weather permitting. In fact, Kate and I will be going at 10 o'clock tonight to 72nd Street, where we're going to take out the sculpture that's there. It's always a fun time, so if you're in the neighborhood, don't hesitate to stop by. Our next artist is a man named Carl Davia. He's technically comes to us from northwestern Connecticut.
Can you spell it, because I'm.
Yes. It's Carl, C-A-R-L, D'*ALVIA. He's been a resident of New York and thinks of himself as, having a New York identity. And his gallery, which is the contracting agent for the exhibition, is Hess Fleitel, which is in Manhattan. And so we have once again, a local gallery, which is a good thing. Carl's work is quite a contrast from the sculptures that we have there now, which we are happy about. They're colorful, they're bright, some of them are a bit goofy, and that seems like a good thing to us.
Wow.
So there are 4 of these sculptures located in CB7. Let's see, maybe, can we just go from one to another and make them a little bigger so you can see them? These are images. It's not photographs of sculptures actually in place, and the placement is approximate. So what we're here to show you is the sculptures, the way they're going to look, and we have done a site visit with Parks, and so all the actual locations have been confirmed for all the various reasons that they go into one place rather than another. So going from south to north at Dante Park at 64th Street, we have Tandem. All of these sculptures are aluminum with auto paint. And the one at Dante, that data is inches, but it's, I will translate for you, it's 10.5 feet at the highest point and 12 feet, including the base from one end to another. The second one going north is at 72nd Street. It's going to be a little closer to the fence around the subway there so that we have good clearance all the way around. It's called Hot Rod, and that one is 9 feet high and 6 feet wide. And then moving down on the image, thank you. At 79th Street, we have SAP. That one is 8 feet high and a little more than 3 feet wide. That one, that image is does not represent how that will be installed. There's a cutout there at 79th Street and the line that and the sculpture will be installed within the cutout and not in the crosswalk, and we've made plans to make sure it's nestled back there so that we don't have any issues with pedestrians in that piece. But that one with its more bold color should be great at 79th Street, where particularly in the summer when the sun sets, the light is wonderful. And so we're looking forward to having that one there. And then at 103rd Street, that is a location that was I don't remember exactly when the construction was. I think it was before COVID. But there was a not very attractive location there, and we were eager to have an art display space. So what you see is what has been there now for a few years, and we've had a couple of sculptures there, and they're eager to have another one. So that is Spectre, which is also 8 feet high and roughly 3 feet wide with the base. So this is what we hope will be installed soon. We'd like to see it in there and to see the exhibition open before the end of April. That's ambitious. The artist and gallery are eager to do that. Maybe it'll take a little longer to get it. Everything is finalized, but there are a lot of moving parts to installing and getting the signage done. And so we're working as hard as we can and as the artist and gallery can to get it in there once the space is available.
This is a really fun exhibit.
Yeah,
There's a fifth sculpture at 117th Street.
That's above
by
CB7.
Columbia,
These are just the four she said that are in CB7.
that are in CB7.
These are really fun.
I see.
They're what?
They're really fun.
I
love that.
I
love
wasn't mad back up. I don't have to say them, but these are fun.
Well, they're a nice follow-on.
Yeah.
And
they're
we
very
think they're,
fanciful. They're
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
They're great.
we think they're fun too.
Yeah.
I was wondering about tandem. It looks particularly enticing and climbable. I mean, is that an okay thing or for the one above? I don't know if it's
Tandem at
Yeah.
Dante. We talked about that. We met with Monica and who's also enthusiastic about them.
Oh my gosh, that's great.
And they're slippery. I mean, we think, and the artist is, eager to have people sit. We've had so many sculptures that you could have worried about. I mean, we had Don Gummer's work that looked kind of like, to some of us, sort of like jungle gyms. We never had any problem with, any of those, so.
I was gonna ask that about the one at 72nd, which is my station, by the way.
Yeah.
Because it looks like people could just nestle right in those.
Yeah, they wouldn't get very high, so it's.
Yeah, they wouldn't get very high.
No, but
But it would
I mean,
There may be a lot of selfies, but that's okay.
yeah, we do have signs. Parks gives us signs that admonish people not to climb them.
Okay.
Actually, the things that get stolen most often are the do not climb signs.
Yeah.
I don't know what people are doing with them, but.
I got a bunch in my living.
How long will the exhibit be?
Something I could put in front of my.
Initially, the agreement is for 6 months, but what we've done in the past is, if the artist and gallery want to extend, we and Parks are happy to do that. The issue is that, let's see, May, June, July, August, September, October. Certain times of the year are not that, friendly for deinstalling. So we're just gonna see how they're doing and what,
Right.
our partners think they can do. If they can leave them there longer, that would be good. But
Yeah, nobody wants to, when it's icy cold, nobody wants to
it's
take something
always
down.
cold.
Yeah.
Tonight, it'll be cold, even though we have.
Right, it was 60 degrees out before, and then I walked out, and they said, but why am I wearing this coat? And it's like, because I know it's gonna be cold tonight.
Yeah.
And you're gonna be on 76.
How is it gonna be installed? Is it going to, are you going to have to break through anything, or is it going to? just
No,
be
we never,
placed there? Right.
break through anything. The artist and the fabricator are going to, with help, are going to do the installation. They've been at every site and looked at what the access is. There's always seemed to be a way to, move it from a truck that can pull up alongside. When we started this series of exhibitions, the early sculptures were quite heavy, and cranes were used, and that requires a DOT permit and flag bearers. You have to close lanes, and it makes it very expensive, and it's not an inducement to artists and galleries to program a major exhibition. But we've had some clever artists who figured out how they could do the installation without the, cranes and the very high level expense. The de-installation tonight will not be one of those. There will be a crane.
The one on 76 is pretty high too.
Yeah, and it has to be taken apart in the pieces. But that one is going to be disassembled in pieces. So, but we're assured that these can be moved around and come in, and we have seen that happen with a couple of other.
They're so whimsical. I think people are going to walk by them and just have a smile on their face.
Yeah.
Kids are going to go
They
crazy.
don't like it.
Yeah, this is just delightful.
I wanted to check to make sure that the folks, committee members online on Zoom, to see if they had any questions. Anybody, non-committee members of the public, any additional questions?
I'd like to.
Yeah, go ahead.
Is there a question?
No.
One more thing. I'd like to, we have for many years had sculptures installed at 96th Street. It's a wonderful location, it's big, but we can no longer do that because the pigeon problem is so extreme. We have what we call our field guide, which shows all the locations, and parts of it were done using a drone. And the drone operator said that when, he flew it over 96th Street, the views of the roofs around that area were just disgusting.
No.
There are two people who feed the pigeons, and it's a problem we have no solution for. We would very much like it if somebody could be active on this issue, but
there's also the companion problem, which is rats.
Yeah.
Totally.
yeah,
Absolutely.
Because while you're feeding the pigeons, whatever they don't eat the rats.
yes.
We don't trap rats.
And then, there are a lot of people all over the city, it's cultural, who do that in their neighborhood, and you ask them not to, but it's,
Yeah. And so the pigeon droppings are, when they land on the sculptures, it's virtually impossible to, get them off with just a, squeeze bottle and a rag. I mean, it's a serious.
And they're also very acidic.
Yeah.
And react poorly with a lot of the.
Yeah.
And that's been a problem for BMA for a long time.
It had,
the last few years.
I mean, the only one location that's been such a problem is 96th Street.
That's
And so
really
the last, John Isherwood, 2 years ago, was the last exhibit that we put there, and John, the artist, suffered mightily in his effort to keep his sculpture clean and
it's man-made. I mean, it didn't exist before, and it's very sad because that's an area that really could use. I mean, they've got the new subway there that's attractive, and they just right across it would be something that would be, uplifting, or whimsical. That would be great.
yeah, and we would, were it available, we would have added a sculpture to be sure that there could be something there. But we can't. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
For your
Thank you.
enthusiasm. I will report. I have a call tomorrow with the artist in the gallery and.
Just a couple of questions. You
Yes.
require a resolution, is that correct?
Yeah.
Or a letter of support?
It's prestigious for us to have it, and so we would appreciate it. We always ask for it. It isn't that we need it. It doesn't stop us from, to not have it.
Yeah.
Doesn't stop us from moving ahead, but we appreciate
Have we
having
ever voted against it? No.
it.
And just to clarify, these are 4 exhibits of a larger set of it. Is it a total of 5?
Yes.
And they're all the same artists? Is
Yeah.
that-
Yes.
Okay, great. Call a question?
Second.
Okay, so everyone agrees this is wonderful. It's like very, like you said, it's very whimsical. The resolution is to approve the public art exhibition as presented today by Broadway Mall Association. And so the vote will be in favor, opposed, abstention, or for cause. All those in favor? All right. And I don't see Sophia. Sophia, raising your hand? Is Sophia still
Yep,
there?
sorry.
So it would be 6 and 2. Yeah, 6.
0. I see what you're saying.
Yeah. And then any non-committee members were voting? No. Alrighty, so it passes with unanimously in favor of the resolution. Congrats.
Thank you. Thank you.
Just wanted to, before you guys, I know for Nancy to take off, but I just wanted to give you an update on for all the new business. And perhaps Natasha can just pipe in if she wants to. It's about the sidewalk sheds. So that's one of the quality of life issues that was discussed earlier on this year's, all these sidewalk sheds with the scaffolding and the corrugated metal and the wood pieces. It's, they're up and there's a lot of them. And this issue is getting a lot of momentum. There's like increased press around it. There's pending legislation. Thank you so much. Pending legislation. And then recently there were the Shetties award ceremony. You guys saw that, right? That was hosted by State Senator Brad Hoylman Siegel. So because the sheds are getting so much momentum, this month's land use meeting, they're going to have a speaker from the Manhattan Borough President's Office to discuss the pending legislation on these sheds and what we can do to kind of support these efforts to safely remove them from our district. So please attend. We encourage you to attend if you can. That's going to be Wednesday and March 19th. So in a couple of days, that's 6:30. And you can kind of listen in to see what they're talking about in terms of legislation. There's a lot more research that needs to be done, but it's going to be hosted at land use.
Does everybody understand what precipitated the sheds and why they're there and why they're up there for so long? Sure.
I think so,
Local
but
Law
would you,
1198,
yeah, would you like to?
which is called the Facade Inspection Safety Program that started in 1998 and then was upgraded, and so we're at right here, it's called FISP. And what happens is every 5 years, it's on a 5-year cycle, landlords of buildings with over six stories high have to have them inspected. They're inspected initially by an engineer. It's a very expensive process on top of everything else. They inspect them every 5 years, and if the engineer says you've got, especially older buildings, buildings made of masonry, masonry clad, but also the window clad buildings. If they find anything that is askance, they have to report it to DOT and then they have to make repairs. The minute they do that, they have to put up a shed. Now they make the repairs, and the repairs cannot be done in the winter. They can only be done in clement months. Exterior restoration companies cannot do that then. So they have to wait through the season. So if you find out in September that you have to wait to get a shed, hire a company, construction company, exterior construction company, or a shed company that will put the sheds up.
Right.
So nobody really thinks about the timing and the cost. The cost is tremendous. Hundreds of thousands of dollars to get the shed up, and then it has to stay there, and they don't own them, so they have to pay a fee every month.
Yeah.
Now, they want to take them down. They've finally gotten them down. They get what they call a swamp, it's safe with a couple of modifications, but you can pull it down. They take them down, and then they come back 3 years later, and they say, well, no, you got to do it, because the cycle is beat the cycle. So what is this? An extraordinary expense.
Yeah.
And so it's not, it's not this. There are those landlords, there are those property owners who keep them up because they don't want to make the repairs, because the repairs are onerous. Along with property taxes, water bills, and everything else that you have to do if you don't own a property in the city.
Sometimes it's cheaper to pay the fines
It's
than
cheaper.
it is to.
You don't
put
have
the
to,
sheds in.
it's cheaper to keep the shed up.
Right.
But the other problem is that we are so understaffed at
City
DOB,
level, yeah.
that you get in there and the inspector says, it's not quite ready for it, you've got to keep the shed up. By the way, he's not going to come back for it. You've got to get your engineer back, you've got to hire contractors come back, and all of this takes time. So it's not always because, the big bad properity owners.
Right.
30
Not
years
always
ago.
straight.
Our sidewalk sheds a little much. Some of the buildings have had them up for that long.
Yeah.
There are those, again, they're not the common, it's not commonplace. There are those property owners who just don't care about keeping the sheds up because it's a lot cheaper than making the repairs.
This 1 year meet's been up for 20 some odd
20
years.
years.
No work going on. Just,
No.
It's really an outrage.
But so many of the sheds have more to do with, the DOB, a lack of staffing, than anything else, and engineers and contractors, and obviously I represent two contractors.
I wanted to make sure, Natasha, you were the one who talked to SEMA. Did that pretty much capture the?
I just wanted to say the discussion at land use will be focused on legislation that is making its way right now through the city to sort of escalate bringing down these scaffoldings, or like the necessity of putting them up in the first place. So we would just encourage everybody to attend. We did not want to have a third meeting mandatory for our Parks and Environment members. So please do attend if you can, or listen in to a recording later on. And then most likely in April, after we, along with land use, have done some more work on this, we'll probably have a joint meeting with them. We'll probably host our meeting jointly with land use, with some sort of a resolution that we'll bring to the table for this matter. But the meeting this week is just more about research and background. Somebody from the borough president's office, somebody from Gail's office will be there and they'll tell us what they're working on legislation-wise. But thank you, Linda, that was very helpful, the background.
Thank you all. Is there any new business? Nope. Adjourn.
Ready, set?
Ready, set, okay.
I'll go adjourn.
I have such an early
Thank
call
you.
tomorrow. Enjoy your vacation,
no.
Natasha.